In yesterday's healthcare town hall, President Obama singled out specific Republicans for praise, hailing their diligent work on healthcare, their sensible proposals, extolling bipartisanship. Today, in our fifth story on the countdown, two of those Republicans have now responded, snatching duplicity from the jaws of compromise and figuratively spitting in that president's face. You will recall that, responding primarily to the Sarah Palin, Betsy McCoy lie that he wants to create government death panels. Mr. Obama yesterday identified who comes up with these lies.
People who want to keep things the way they are will try to scare the heck out of folks, and they'll create boogeymen out there that just aren't real.
Creating boogeymen, not like the sincere Republicans Mr. Obama recognized.
I think that there are some of my Republican friends on Capitol Hill who are sincerely trying to figure out if they can find a health care bill that works. Chuck Grassley of Iowa, Mike Enzi of Wyoming, Olympia Snowe from Maine.
As Mr. Obama explained, the death panel rumor started with a provision for reimbursing doctors who counsel people about their options, whether they are dying or a loved one might be, about living wills, about hospices, and so forth.
The irony is that actually one of the chief sponsors of this bill originally was a Republican, then House member, now Senator, named Johnny Isakson from Georgia, who very sensibly thought this is something that would expand people's options.
Today, Senator Isakson responded directly, his anti-sensibility news release in a moment. But first, what Senator Grassley, top Republican on the Finance Committee, the Senate GOP point man on health care, had to say today, less than 24 hours after the president had singled him out for praise, named him specifically as working sincerely and diligently on health care. Not like those people who want to keep things the way they are by scaring folks and creating boogeymen. Here's what that man had to say today.
There's some fear because in the House bill, there's counseling for end of life.
That's it.
And from that standpoint, you have every right to fear. You shouldn't have counseling at the end of life. You ought to have counseling 20 years before you're going to die. You ought to plan these things out. And I don't have any problem with things like living wills, but they ought to be done within the family. We should not have a government program that determines you're going to pull the plug on grandma.
Sounds like his healthcare contributor corporations pulled the plug on Senator Grassley. What of Senator Isakson? Quoting the very first words of his news release, U.S. Senator Johnny Isakson today denounced comments made by President Obama regarding Isakson's alleged connection to language contained in the House health care bill on end-of-life counseling. Where did Mr. Obama get the idea Mr. Isaacson supported government coverage of end-of-life counseling? Perhaps from Isaacson's interview the day before, in which he said, quote, Sarah Palin's website had talked about the House bill having death panels on it where people would be euthanized. How someone could take an end-of-life directive or a living will as that is nuts. Or from Senate Bill 466 from 2007 to provide for coverage of an end-of-life planning consultation, co-sponsor Johnny Isakson. Like Mr. Grassley, Mr. Isakson at least acknowledges that death panels are bogus. And today, an actual Alaska Republican who is serving in office went further, joining Mr. Obama in calling the death panel lie a lie. A lie now owned by Mr. Grassley as well. Ginned up fear.
It does us no good to incite fear in people by saying that, there's these end-of-life provisions, these death panels. I'm so, quite honestly, I'm so offended at that terminology because it absolutely isn't. There is no reason to gin up fear in the American public by saying things that are not included in the bill.
Presumably